Good evening, folks. My name is Thomas Pence. I'm a public information officer here with Great Basin Team 3. Thank you for coming and welcome to our third public meeting. We're going to try and keep this meeting to 1 hour, so we're looking at an end time of 8 p.m. tonight. We will have an open period for questions from the audience, so please hold all questions until the end. Should you not get your question answered, please find someone in a team shirt like mine or in one of the yellow shirts around the room at the end of the meeting, and we'll be happy to answer anything that you might have. With that, please silence your phones, and we'll begin with Sam with the weather.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Sam Weber. I'm the incident meteorologist working here alongside Great Basin Team 3. So what a crazy couple days we've had for weather the past couple days. We've had wind gusts upwards of 45 to 55 miles per hour on Friday, paired that with humidity as low as 3 to 5%. So extreme fire weather conditions on Friday for essentially the entire day. We had those conditions starting to pick up at around 10 a.m. and they lasted all the way through about 6 to 7 p.m. And then we had a cold front push through, which switched the winds around to the northwest. We had wind gusts out of the north to northwest at 35 to 40 miles per hour. And then things finally settled down as we headed into this morning, which was it was fairly calm this morning, but as we got into the afternoon, we saw those southwest winds pick right back up, gusting upwards of 35 to 40 miles per hour. Humidity was a little bit higher, around 15%, but that's still really low and still really strong winds. So 2 days of pretty extreme fire weather conditions over the fire. We have another cold front that just pushed through, which is going to help us get some much colder air, higher humidity as we move into tomorrow. We lose the winds finally. We've had at least a week of breezy to very strong southwest winds that we're finally moving around to a northwest wind. It's going to bring temperatures that are about 10 to 15 degrees below normal for this time of year. So mid 60s out there as compared to about 90 degrees. That's a huge win for weather. Winds backing off from gusting to 40 to 45 miles per hour, backing off to 20 miles per hour. That's huge as well. And then our overnight relative humidity recoveries coming up to 60 to 70%. So really great moderation of the fire weather environment. So good day coming for fire weather on Sunday and even into Monday as we have some of those cooler temperatures hanging around. We are going to start drying out, however, and our winds are going to start to push back to the southwest as we head into the early week. And from about Tuesday through the end of the week, conditions are just going to gradually warm and dry as we get back into kind of building some heat over this area. Each day, progressively, we're going to get faster and faster with the wind. So things are going to start ramping up again. So while we have some short-term relief from the extreme fire weather conditions we've been having, it is going to pick back up, especially as we head into the late week where our temperatures are going to come back up into the mid 80s to near 90 degrees. And our humidity, if you look at that daytime minimum relative humidity, it's getting back down into the mid single digits. So around 5% as we head into Thursday, Friday. So looking at potentially critical fire weather conditions pushing back into the area late week. But the good news, at least in the short term, is that we have a moderating fire weather environment out there. So with that, I'll hand it off to Mike with fire behavior.
All righty. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out. So my fire behavior inputs are Sam's fire weather output. So fire behavior is directly driven from fire weather. So as he mentioned, the last couple of days, we've had extreme fire weather conditions, those red flag warnings. We have super, super dry fuels out there. So your junipers, your sagebrush, your grasses. And that resulted in that cherry fire that started about midday yesterday. And in just a few short hours, it grew to over 30,000 acres and spread a distance of about 11 miles. So it's what we call extreme fire behavior in my world. And today, the conditions were just about the same as what they were yesterday, but not for as long. But given these fuels, given the conditions, we know that doesn't mean much. It doesn't take much to have some significant growth. So go to the map, please. So today we had those southwest winds early, and that caused maybe some fire activity up along this western edge. That's where there's a lot of junipers up in that kind of country. that holds a lot of heat, reacts a lot to those winds. And so with those winds, those dry fuels, we were starting to get a little bit of acreage growth to the north. And then as Sam mentioned, that cold front moved through, and what that did is that brought winds out of the north. So then that caused the fire behavior to pick up in other areas, so down south. So right now we have fire that's kind of more active in this southern edge around, let me read my notes here, Maple Peak. And when you look out or when you were driving in, you might have saw some smoke coming up from the ground. That's the column that's kind of growing from that smoke as those fuels are burned and that heat's released. Essentially, the fuels are so dry, it's like kiln dried lumber, and it's just cranking and it's burning everything down to just about nothing out there. High intensity, high heat, high resistance to control, especially with those winds combined with it. Okay, so that's going to continue throughout the night until we lose some of that sun. Sun goes down a little bit. Those humidities come up that Sam was talking about. Then things will really die down later this evening, maybe around that 9 o'clock, 10 p.m. That's when things will really settle down. Still be a lot of heat out there. Those junipers, like I said, hold a lot of heat, and they'll continue throughout the evening. Now into tomorrow, you notice Sam's weather matrix. There's a lot of green on there. So big change in the weather coming. That means there's a big change in fire behavior coming. So yes, those fuels are very dry, but those conditions that Sam talked about are not really conducive to large fire growth. The junipers are still going to hold some heat. They're still going to be moving around a lot, but those conditions are much better for firefighters to be much more successful in their missions that operations is going to talk about here in a little bit. So it seems like everything is happening in twos or in pairs with this fire, with the fire weather anyway. So we had 2 days of hot, dry, red flag conditions. We're going to have 2 days of nice moderated conditions. So we'll be able to be pretty successful. And then 2 days of drying, followed by another couple days of those more extreme conditions. So as Sam mentioned, as we get on through the rest of next week, everything's just going to get cranked up just a little bit, like you have a dial on a thermometer, and when it's cold out, right? You just keep cranking it up, and eventually it gets too hot, and that's what's going to continue to happen. So as long as that fire's out there on the landscape, it'll sit. Those junipers are going to continue to hold heat through this little cold period, and then it'll start drying out. And then by the end of the week or by midweek, we definitely could see some increased activity, and then possibly a return to some of that extreme fire behavior, depending upon how much fire is on the landscape. That's the end of the week. So I'll be around afterwards if there's questions for me. Until then, operations with Brad.
Good evening, everybody. Brad Mihalik, Operations Section Chief with Great Basin Team 3. Like they said, it was pretty wild last 24 hours here. I'm sure you all are aware, but I just give a brief synopsis of how we got to this point. So we've been, obviously dealing with the iron fire for the last week or so. And 2 nights ago, we had a lot of dry lightning that moved through. So overnight, last night, and into yesterday, the wind picked up significantly and started 2 new fires down here to our southwest. Throughout the day, increased winds, and these fires rapidly grew and eventually grew together. So now we have 2 fires, which we're calling the Iron Fire, and this one now is just 1 fire called the Cherry Fire. So we'll walk you around the map, tell you what's going on, and give you an update here. So we'll start with the Iron Fire. Currently down on the southern end of it, in and around the town of Eureka, still looking really good, really solid. This fire's been wind tested pretty hard for the last 2 days or so, and nothing's really given us much problems. It's all remaining in our control line. So that's a good test for us, gives us a lot of confidence in our lines, and makes us much more comfortable with this chunk of ground. So with that, over the next shift or so, we'll be starting to pare down a lot of resources on the Iron Fire and shift them down to the Cherry Fire. Continuing up and around, all looking real good. Again, all crews are direct in here, just continuing to hold and improve our lines. We've added a bunch of containment line, actually even to this map. So really our only areas that we aren't calling contained are up here in this northwest corner and up here on this little finger on our eastern edge, I would say. So overall, the iron fire looks really good. We will still have crews on it, monitoring it over the next couple of days. We're not just walking away from it. But overall, with the wind tests that we've had, we're feeling really, really comfortable with the iron fire. Now, down into the cherry fire, which, we've seen make an incredible push over the last 24 hours or so. Like I said, 30,000 acres and 11 miles. That's moving at a pretty good clip. But we are making good progress on it. Big fire growth yesterday. So it took us a little bit today to get out there after overnight and really see what we had. I mean, it was just so chaotic out there last night with fire just moving in every direction that we knew what we had basically, but didn't have a good plan in place just because it moved so fast. So we got out there this morning, got a good plan in place. We got our folks in the right spots, protecting the values at risk. Our main priority is still Eureka here and the couple of towns just to the south of it. And we also got on the north end here some scattered ranches and energy infrastructure. So those are our two main concerns in this with the cherry fire. Again, crews are making actually fairly good progress on this fire. We got crews direct with dozers mainly and hand crews, and they're making really good progress. We got it all line completed all the way from the iron fire down to the Highway 36 area about mid-shift today. And crews are now west of Highway 36, both on the north and the southern flank. So today on the north flank, we've, initially this morning, our winds were out of the southwest, really banging on this northern flank. So we hit that with a lot of aircraft. We used a ton of aircraft on this fire today. There was one point, I think we had 12 aircraft in the air at one time, which is quite a lot for such a narrow fire. So threw a lot of aircraft at the northern edge of this morning into midday with the large air tankers and helicopters, et cetera. So feeling really good about this as it was moving around this morning, getting hit with the wind. But at about mid-shift, our wind shifted as the cold front went through. It shifted 180 degrees, making the southern edge of the fire more active than the northern edge. So currently this afternoon into this evening, our wind is still coming out of the northwest. And, we're making good progress on this northwest or on this southern line, excuse me. We have a few gaps in here that are moving around. So we're making really good progress, but we're having these little pieces that are kind of pooching out this way, especially what you're seeing right now. That big column you're seeing out there right now is down here on this southern end of it, or I guess western end of it. Moving into that, there's a group of homes down here called Sunrise Estates or Sahara Sunrise Estates. We got crews in here right now. This fire's moving right at it. We're doing all we can down in there right now, coming up with a plan to try to push this fire around that Sunrise Estates. But like Mike was saying, with the conditions and the winds and the fuels, and when the fire gets into that extreme behavior, what we call it, we can't have crews right on the line. It's just too intense, too extreme. There's no way we can do that. So we're back off the line a little bit, coming up with indirect fire line, which we've talked about multiple nights before. And, crews are in there doing the best they can with that, and we'll see how that turns out. But we're definitely giving it our best efforts. So really, overall, this is looking really good. It's, like I said, just these couple of pieces that are moving out this way, and that's what continues our concern in this area here. So as these, if we get a couple of these fingers that move out this way, past this main body of fire, what can happen is we can get that westerly wind, as it could turn into more of a westerly component and drive that fire right back up into this section around Eureka, et cetera. So that's why we still have the evacuations in place. And, we don't want to have an event like last night where it could move 5 or 10 miles and be right back in here. So that's the reason for the continued evacuation. Looking forward, moving into the next couple of days, as Mike said, we're looking at some better conditions, some more favorable conditions. The good thing with this chunk of ground, it's quite a bit different than the iron fire in the fact that the fuel component is different. It's not as heavy, thick juniper as the iron fire is, and not as steep of terrain. So there's more grass, small brush component with scattered juniper in it. So it doesn't hold heat as long. And we feel, when we have these next couple of days of favorable conditions, that we're going to be able to make a lot quicker progress than we have been able to with the iron fire, just due to the fact of the terrain and the fuels are so much different. So outlook looks good. We want to get through tonight, get this, let this wind event play its course, get through tonight, and we'll reevaluate in the morning. But really, overall, we're feeling pretty good about it once we get through this evening. I'll be around afterwards if anybody has any questions. Thank you.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Once again, definitely a few less people here, which is a good thing. At the same time, definitely want to recognize the folks out in Vernon. Appreciate you folks being there and attending. And I know the team has representation out there from our public information officers, that shop that handles all that business with our liaison. So definitely want to recognize those folks. One of the things we're given as a team when we show up to an incident like the iron fire, now in control and doing operations on the cherry fire, is we receive responsibilities for initial attack. And that initial attack area is usually, as this map shows, I don't know if you can see it real well, there's this light colored blue line. That's called our TFR. And that TFR is for our aviation assets that we utilize on the fire on a daily basis to keep them safe. And so no other aviation can come into that TFR. So under that big polygon, as you can see, it's a large one, we're given initial attack responsibility to if there is a new fire that starts from whatever the mechanism, lightning, human caused, whatever, right? We send our resources, we disengage from the fire. We have a contingent of folks, engines, dozers, hand crews, use our helicopters, whatever that is, and we go hit that fire as quick as possible. Yesterday, so over the last 2 days, we've had 7 new fires within our TFR around the iron fire. All of those we caught. One specifically right off of Highway 36 yesterday, the wind, I can't even remember the acreage, definitely gave us a little bit of a challenge. So yesterday afternoon, as was mentioned, you had the cherry fire that start outside our TFR. You had the Maple Peak fire, I believe it was, start as well. And so those simultaneously take off. Outside our TFR, however, we assisted the local unit yesterday, sending, again, dozers, hand crews, aviation resources, engines, etc. However, by the time they get there, we do that, again, just due to the conditions of the fuel, the weather, the wind especially, there's not much we could do. And so we had to get into a defensive posture, and thus we have what we have with the cherry fire now. In all of that chaos, the main thing we want to maintain and make sure we watch out for is your safety as the public, as the citizens in these various communities, which again, we did have to evacuate. So in consultation with the Sheriff's Department for both Juab and Tooele County, that's what we did. But I can say this, to my knowledge, everybody made it out safe. Really appreciate that. I know some folks decided to stay in place as well. And for the most part, or maybe one of the most important things as well, is all of the resources, again, that we sent to help with these fires in all the chaos, poor visibility, lots of smoke, lots of fire, moving lots of places. No firefighter was hurt in any of that. And so I count that as a success. Thank you. That's truly not me. That's the folks on the ground maintaining good accountability, good communication, and coming up with the right plan and the right decisions to make that all happen. So again, 2 different fires we're managing. The iron fire is as described. It was tested in all this, didn't really move at all. continue to see a little bit of residual smoke. There is some heat in the interior, and that's fine. It's not going to go anywhere. And so this one is looking really good. No threats to any of the surrounding communities. And now it's just turning all of our time and attention to the cherry fire. We have an opportunity based on the weather again changing for us tomorrow for the next few days to really make some great progress on this fire. And I think you'll see that happen very quickly to where, again, we're grabbing containment on this and being able to have those discussions again with both the Tooele and the Juab County Sheriff's Department about evacuations and see what comes of those in those discussions and our recommendations based on what we're able to do and accomplish, within the next 24 or so plus hours. So a great opportunity there. The last thing I just want to mention, we've been here 7 days now, and I know, right, we bring in a large organization. We're up to 800 plus individuals here to deal with both of these fires. That's a lot of people. And we're in and out of town. We're around town. We're telling and reminding our firefighters, right, to slow down, be very cognizant of all of you here within in Santaquin and the other locations that we're traveling on those various roads. At the same time, I know you all want to get back to normal. Don't want to have to deal with any of this and the repercussions of smoke and large fires. And you kind of get sick of us. It just happens. That's part of the nature of this game that we do. And so, yeah, ask for continued patience. Appreciate everything you've given us thus far. And in a matter of a few days, when I say few, I'm going to be very vague there on purpose. But we'll get this thing wrapped up as well. With that, I'll turn it over to our Forest Service representative. Thank you.
All righty. Well, thanks, Todd. So I'm Brian Trick. I'm the agency administrator for the Forest Service. I think I am the newest face in the room because of the cherry fire. So I think we have less than maybe 1,000 acres that are now part of that, but that means that I get a seat at the table. The big thing really for me is I don't want to take up too much of your time. I want to definitely pass it on to the folks that have been here from the beginning, from the very start, the 7 days, and give them the time that they want or need to just talk to you all and address some questions and concerns for you. But the big thing for us is that we're here now. We're tied in with the team. We're tied in with our partners with BLM and the state. And the big thing is just showing support for them, the team's plans, the decisions that the other agency administrators will make, but also for you all, any support that you might need that we as the Forest Service might be able to lend. So that's really all I have. And I'll pass it over to Justin Roach, who's the agency administrator for Forestry, Fire, and State Lands, and the Wasatch Front Area Manager.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Brian. Evening, everybody. Justin Roach with Forestry, Fire, and State Lands. So I just kind of want to echo what Brian mentioned. We with the state of Utah, the Forest Service, the Bureau of Land Management, and the United States Wildfire Service, local fire departments, counties, municipalities, we are all here working together, and we are all here working to help support you guys out there in the field and get you guys back into your home safely. Something I wanted to talk about just a little bit tonight. So prior to me stepping into this position, I spent 11 years working with one of the state's Type 1 interagency hotshot crews. I got the opportunity and the misfortune to travel the country and fight some of our country's most destructive and dynamic wildfires that we see in the West, the East, and the Midwest here. And one common theme that I saw while traveling around the country was that the communities that were affected by these fires, more times than not, they came out of the adversity stronger than they were before. And that's something that I see here that's about to happen. A little quote I'd like to share from one of our old friends, Albert Einstein, is in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. And I think the communities that have been impacted by these fires have a very unique opportunity to come together, show strength, show support for each other, and come out of this deal a little bit stronger and a little bit better connected. Once again, we really do want to just thank you guys for your patience and support. We all are going to be here till the job's done, and that's a guarantee. So I'll be around if you guys have any questions, and I'll pass the mic over to Mayor Robert Jenkins. Appreciate you.
They're not getting a third step out of me. I know that we're all sick of being out of our homes. We really do need to give a round of applause to the fire teams that are here, taking care of our community. They make calls based on safety. They don't make calls based on popular vote. They are here to make sure that we have homes to go back to make sure that our community can survive another 120 years. We're not alone in this. Several communities around us, several communities in southern Utah have also been evacuated from their homes. So remember to say a prayer for those communities, say a prayer to get back into our community, and remember to thank the firefighters, thank the police, thank the city workers back at home that are working nonstop, trying to make sure that we are all safe and have something to go back to. And I'll pass it off to Sheriff Kennison.
I'll be quick. I want to throw some gratitude out to a couple of people that haven't been mentioned in this meeting that I have felt and a few of us wanted to mention in particular. Mayor Jenkins, for one, he's a pretty humble man. He's done a lot for your community. A lot of you don't recognize. Countless hours, him and Tyler keeping wells running so that there was water for your firefighters up there to suppress around your homes. The other one is Raylene. If you've been to the shelter, she has been there countless hours. I've worked 16-hour shifts and Raylene has beat me there every day and she has stayed longer every day. So if you, those two earn a round of applause there. Real quick, law enforcement aspect, we were tasked yesterday as reluctantly as we didn't want to do it to evacuate. We were in close contact with our fire partners. We all felt like it had hit our trigger point there and it was time to evacuate just because of the risk was not worth it at that point anymore. We were assisted with multiple partners, Utah County, their deputies, emergency management, a lot of their volunteers, UHP, DPS, BLM, our county deputies, Nephi City, Santaquin, various agencies. So I'm sorry if I failed to mention them all. We went to a lot of residents that were hesitant to evacuate, and understandably so. But we do appreciate the assistance with those that did evacuate, and even those that didn't. We had a lot of good conversations, met a lot of good people that I have never met in Eureka that out of those 600 residents. So a lot of appreciation, a lot of gratitude to the citizens of our county. Thanks for all you guys do and putting up with the fire, and we know you want to be home, and we're doing our best to get you back and do it so, in a safe manner. But that's all I've got.
Thank you, and thank you for your time. As of right now, we're going to open it up for questions. But before we begin, please remember to wait for a mic so we can make sure that everyone in this room can hear you. With that, we'll turn it over to you guys for your questions.
He was vague on how much time it would be before they got back into Eureka. Can we get the long estimated time?
Great question. You're going to pinpoint me. That's awesome. No worries. Yeah. So the long answer, 48 hours, I think. We're going to reassess again tomorrow, midday-ish, have that conversation again, and that's because of the weather change that we're going to see when the winds die tonight, those colder temps come, and gives us that opportunity. Again, we have continued, I can't remember if Brad mentioned, we have day operations. All of our resources are out there. We have night operations as well. And so a lot of people doing a lot of work 24 hours a day to try to, again, gain some containment and control of the Cherry Fire, continue to have a presence around the Iron Fire as well. And so I truly think our conversations are going to be different tomorrow. We just got to see where we get to. So, yep, I would say within the 24, 48 hours, we'll have a good answer for you, and yeah, allow the Sheriff's Department to relay that information to you.
Thank you. Next question. All right. If there's no more questions, we will be available to answer anything that might have come up that you didn't get an opportunity to ask. But with that, we're going to end the meeting now. Have a good night. Thank you.